what's happening, family? It's your man Mark Black. You know what time it is. It's Hump Day, and it's the day before Thanksgiving. So before we even get into it, whether you celebrate it or not, I just want to tell you all that I hope that you have a safe and a happy holiday. I hope that you are able to enjoy that time off with your friends, your family, and your loved ones. I hope that you eat like pigs tomorrow and enjoy whatever it is that tomorrow is going to bring you. Whether you call it Thanksgiving, whether you call it Friendsgiving, whether you're gathering with your family or not, doesn't matter. I hope tomorrow brings you the best of what being alive on that day has to offer. Right. So with that said, before we get started on today's broadcast, just a couple of notes, couple of reminders, right? Housekeeping, as you will. First of all, fam, I want to remind those of you who are participating or are looking to participate in Yvette's book club that the book that is going to be read, They Were Her Property. There's a link to purchase the book down below. Help me to help you, right? That link will help support my work, support my channel, and also helps you to get that information you need so that you can participate, get some fat on your head and all of that. There are also links to other books, reports, resources, many free, to just help you understand not just what we're fighting for, but why we fight. Also, fam, if anytime during a broadcast you feel that what I do is worthy of it, there are links to support my work. There is my Streamlabs link, there is my Cash App. Although I would ask you to consider becoming a patron of mine. Right now I have 12 patrons, and I gotta say, I'm grateful to each and every last one of you. Thank you so much for trusting that I'm going to continue to bring you what it is that you need. So if I've delivered you good content, if you trust that I'm going to continue to do so, why not support me? $5 a month, put 5 on it. One time. Don't have to worry about it. No stress, no fuss, no muss. It would definitely be helpful for me and helpful for you as well. So with that said, let's go ahead and do the usual. Fam, if you're new to the broadcast, we have a rule. When you come into the house, before you come into the house, knock on the door. You don't have to participate in the chat, but you do need to let us know that you're here. So pop your name in the chat so we can shout you out and show you love and respect for your taking your time to spend with us today. So shout out to Dr. Miles Bennett Dyson. I see you, fam. Blackman 903, what it do? DVM's in the house, fam. I see you. Easy Be Easy in the house. Beloved sister Christine is in the house. Pretty Muslima's in the house. Brother Ibrahim, salam, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Happy Hump Day to you. Brother John Anderson is in the house. Namaste. Kimberly is in the house. Agent Smith is in the house. Miss Kawami, beloved sister, I see you. Peace, fam. Ty H is in the house. Welcome, present and counted for. The Cool Man's in the house. Welcome, fam, to the broadcast. So today, fam, we are going to talk about Thanksgiving, but not in that whole, crazy ass, hey Pat, I see you, fam, welcome to the broadcast and happy Hump Day to you. But not, Sister Alma's in the house. I'm loving it. Keep popping in, fam. I'm gonna greet you as you come in through the door. By the way, fam, let me know if you can hear me well. I did some audio changes. As you all know, that I used to previously have good mic setup, mixer, all of that. When I moved, I wasn't able to get everything connected the way I needed to, but recently I was able to get everything set up, so it should be much clearer, much better sound. And I hope that thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. So yes, I wanted to make sure to set this up for you. By the way, fam, I'm looking probably sometime either before the end of the year or shortly thereafter to upgrade the camera that I have. I'm going to be also setting up, a different layout to where, I have better background, just, increasing the quality, right? I mean, I can't do anything about this ugly mug I got, but what I can do is I can bring you better sound, better visuals, better engagement, and that's what I always work to do. So I appreciate that. We're not going to talk about Thanksgiving today in that whole sense of that you hear from a lot of, for lack of a better way to say it, these, conscious, woke, super black, pro black, where fuck Thanksgiving. No, we're not doing that, right? We're going to do it the way we, as the black descendants of United States slavery, as ADOS, as FBA, have learned how to do it. We're going to look at whether or not Thanksgiving is warranted in the main, considering our circumstances, considering where we are, right? So what inspired me to do this broadcast, fam, is, as you all well know, I'm a huge fanboy of Dr. Darity, right? I follow him on Twitter. I read all of his work across ResearchGate, across the Duke website. Huge fan of the work that this man does. He's worked with some great individuals, such as Dr. Dark Hamilton, and among others, right? So, and he's continually pushing the envelope and getting us more information about the reality of what our circumstances are here in the United States of America, and the data that we need to buttress our justice claim. Well, recently, there was a back and forth on Twitter between Dr. Darity and another of one of our scholars. I forget the sister's name. I think it was Tressie McMillan. And if I got it wrong, Dr. McMillan, you let me know if you ever see this broadcast, because I want to make sure to give you your propers and shout you out. But there was a back and forth where this person posted, thank you so much, now that I'm thoroughly blushing and all. This person posted something, fam, that if you have been a part of this advocacy for as long as I have, it's not shocking so much in the sense that it's something you're unaware of, but it's something that when you see it, when you have no choice but to look at it in all of its stark reality, it shakes you. It will take your breath away. And I'm going to share it with you today. But I'm going to do something that was impossible for them to do via the tweet, okay? Which was give a little bit more context to whether or not we actually, as a collective, as a people, as a tribe, have anything to truly be thankful for other than our tribes people, our family in this country, right? So with that said, fam, let's get right to it, okay? Here we go to the teaching screen. Peace, Sister Paula. Welcome to the broadcast. Happy Hump Day to you and happy early Thanksgiving. This, fam, in case you were wondering, is the website, the official website of the Fed, right? This is the information directly from the source, okay? And as you can see, what this is listed as distributional financial accounts. Basically, this is information that discusses the distribution of all wealth across groups, right? Specifically with the emphasis on assets. Now, I looked at, and the person that initially started this conversation looked at this distribution by race or by ethnicity. Okay, so when we look at this chart, what we will see is we'll see white, black, Hispanic, and other. Okay, just a heads up. Now, I'm going to scroll down a bit and I'm going to show you what this looks like. I want y'all to take a look at this. I'm just gonna pause for a minute, right? By the way, what's important to note is this is in trillions of dollars. By the way, Chaos is in the house and Cool Unk is in the house. Welcome. By the way, Chaos, I'm gonna talk about that in a different broadcast. right? I'm gonna have to talk about that in a different broadcast. By the way, an extra special shout out to the brother Travis, also known as Black Dollars University, who put in real work going and confronting those who would defame and diminish the memory of our beloved ancestress Harriet Tubman. The brother was there at UT in Austin recently confronting the producer of the film. Shout out to the brother. Fam, I want you to get a good long look at this. A good long look. I'll give you the breakdown. There's a little legend here on the chart, but you can see the blue represents real estate. The yellow represents consumer durables. Consumer durables are basically things like infrastructure and things like that, but from a more consumer basis, right? And then of course you have corporate equities and mutual fund shares. This is stocks, mutual fund ownership, and so on and so forth, right? Pension entitlements, of course, that's pension. Private businesses, right? This is the value of individual private businesses owned, and other assets, right? This could be commodities, minerals, etc. Okay? You feel me? So this is the breakdown. This is what is represented in this chart. And as you can see, the whites overwhelmingly own everything. Everything. This is looking somewhere in the neighborhood of close to $22 trillion in assets. If you look at us, as you can see, this is us right here. You know, we use terms like racial wealth gap. And I think that, like Cool Unc said, I don't think gap even comes close to encompassing the reality of what our circumstances truly are. I don't think gap is a strong enough word. By the way, thank you, Brother Maurice. I appreciate the love and support. Thank you for the donation, man, the tip. I don't think that gap really, truly makes clear just where we are, fam. This isn't a gap. This is an abyss. This is a canyon. This is the equivalent of the Grand Canyon, fam. Shout out to Sister Moni. Beloved, I see you. Welcome to the broadcast. This is a gulf, fam, that we hear statistics like if the growth of wealth for whites stopped today and ours continued, it would take us 223 years just to reach where they are, which is strangely odd considering that the chattel enslavement of our ancestors lasted approximately 246 years, from 1619 to 1865. Now, of course, America has fucked off some money, right? Wasted money, blown money. So it would only take us 223 years to catch up to them. You feel me? I want you to look at this. I want you to understand how disrespectful it is, fam, when you have black folk who tell us that we can get here from here if we just buy black, spend black, bank black, do everything black. Even if we had every dollar come in to our community circulate only within our community, which is a virtual impossibility. Because how many Black owned power generation and power distribution companies are there? You know, like Enron and so on and so forth. How many of those are Black owned or controlled? How many Black owned grocery store chains, Black owned and controlled, are there? No, scratch that. Before you even get to grocery stores, how many Black owned and controlled transportation hubs there are? Scratch that. Before you even get to transportation, how much land and how many Black farmers are there? Sister Christine was just talking about how 99% of the farmers' grants were given to white farmers as well. And this was just last year by Donald Trump. How many Black owned and controlled Tyson Foods do we have? Tyson Foods essentially dominates the poultry industry. One company. Where's ours? You don't understand the disrespect shown to you, the disrespect to your intellect, right? The insulting of your intelligence. B-man, we didn't have all of that. When you go back as far as you want, from emancipation all the way to today, we have never been in a position where we had all of that. Right in the same year, B-man, that the Civil Rights Act of 1866 was passed, the Homestead Act of 1866 was passed. They basically gave away full sections of land to anyone who went out there and put in a stake. And all you had to do was agree to farm on it for 5 years. And we were locked out of that. Meanwhile, the land that was promised to our ancestors via Special Act 15 through Sherman, when he went through the South, that got taken away from us by Andrew Johnson. We never had that, fam. As much as we would all like to believe in a mythological past where we had unity and with that could build something of note, we were in the hole from the moment we were emancipated. Why do you think that Sister Callie House was pushing so hard for a pension for the ex-slaves, a type of reparations? Because when our ancestors were freed, all approximately 4.5 million of them, when they were free to starve. They were emancipated with nothing. And I do not understand, fam, why this happens to be such a controversial thing for Black people to say. Like, if you say this, what you're saying is that Black people ain't about shit. They can't do nothing. They ain't gonna never be nothing. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't understand where the emotional punch at other Black people comes in when you just simply state the facts. The fact is that with our people, our ancestors being considered property for 12 generations, and all of a sudden we're emancipated, that we would then have the capability to make up 12 generations of wealth acquisition, of wealth accumulation with nothing more than good luck. Make it make sense. We're not poverty pimping or trying to down Black people by telling the truth about our circumstances. And our circumstances is that even in the height of Jim Crow, when it was only us stuck with us, our resources still had to go out to the populace at large. Sure, we had islands, little dots on a white sheet of paper where we were able to locally develop some degree of prosperity. Places like Durham, places like Greenwood, Archer Pine, the Greenwood area in Tulsa, and so on and so forth. And the fact that we were able to do that speaks volumes about our capability, that given the proper resources and access to proper resources, what we can do. But we did all of that in spite of, not because of. We did not accomplish those things because of segregation. We did not accomplish those things because we only bought black, ate black, drank black, lived black. That's not how it worked. We did all of that and got what little we were able to get in spite of. And there is nothing wrong with us telling the truth about that situation. It is not a disrespect to us to admit the truth. The truth is, fam, is that no matter how much money any individual black person got, when you look at us at an aggregate across the board, the gulf, right, the chasm between what our white fellow citizens own access and control and what we own access and control is so vast that without some sort of intervention, we will never be able to make it up. And I don't give a damn how that makes you feel. I'm the angry black sheep. I can't afford to give a fuck about your feelings. We keep telling ourselves these myths of a time that never existed, of circumstances that never obtained. And we have done so from the beginning all the way up to today. I do not desire whatsoever to squelch the innovation, the aspiration, and the growth of my people. But it's been long past time, fam, that we get honest with ourselves. You don't go from here to here by just banking at a black bank or shopping at a black-owned grocery store or buying clothes from a black-owned and controlled business. You don't get from here to there doing that. Not with this wide a gulf. Not with this wide a gap. You just simply don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it fucks your head up. I'm sorry that if your whole life you believe that black people can just do anything they want to do. Yes, we can, within the confines of the reality of our circumstances. Within the confines of this, fam, you can accomplish whatever you like. But make no mistake, this is as hard a boundary for us as the event horizon of a black hole is for us. Here you can see the Hispanics and other, that's Asians, Pacific Islanders, natives, etc., whatever. Now, I'm going to open up the phone lines early tonight because I want to hear from y'all, right? But here's the thing I want to show you, right? Before we go anywhere else, before we have this discussion, I want to show you something. Does anybody notice anything strange here? Look at this chart, right? Look at this information, fam, and you tell me if you notice anything. What, other than the obvious gulf and all of that, forget all of that, tell me what you notice strange in this chart. Type it out into the chat, fam. By the way, shout out to Unsunken One and Sister Constance. Welcome to the broadcast, fam. Happy Hump Day to all of you, and happy early Thanksgiving to you. Right? Unsunken One, before everybody got credit cards, before Russell Simmons was able to do, I remember I had a Rush card. Who remembers the Rush card? Because I wasn't able to qualify for no regular credit cards. So I had a prepaid card through Rush card, trying again to support black business and build my credit at the same time. Who had a Rush card? Ain't no shame in it. Fam, those of you who are looking at this and paying attention, which I'm assuming all of you are, it's just something small, so you may have overlooked it. This is the data as it stands in 1989. I'm not even talking about today, fam. This is what it looked like 30 years ago. This is where we were 30 years ago. This was toward the end of the Reagan era. This was toward the start of the era, the fall of the Berlin Wall. Many of us who were alive still lived under the threat of nuclear annihilation back in 1989. I hadn't even graduated from high school as of yet in 1989. Well, actually, I never graduated from high school. I was slated to graduate in 92. So I was basically a freshman in 1989. Let me show you what it looks like today. Let me show you what it looks like today. This is, fam, you don't have to like Mark Black. You can say that I have a bias, right? That I'm down with, down in niggas and anti-capitalists and all this. You can say all of that to me or about me. I don't care, right? The data is the data. Mind you, again, this is in the trillions of dollars. We saw roughly, now of course, fam, we have to account for a couple of things that are not listed, at least I don't think it's listed in this data, right? We have to account for inflation, right? So as the Fed keeps pumping out more money, right, more dollars are going to be circulating out there, right? So we have to account for that. But even accounting for inflation in 30 years, here's your information, fam. The total amount of resources owned and controlled by our fellow white citizens is well over the $100 trillion mark. We can take a look. In real estate alone, $23.29 trillion. Corporate equities and mutual funds, $23.58 trillion. Yep, thanks to Obama as well for quantitative easing. Family pensions owned and controlled by our fellow white citizens is $21 trillion alone. Look at the value of private businesses, $11.87 trillion. $11.87 trillion. Fam, you got people who tell us that black business, opening businesses, getting off the plantation is the key to black wealth, growth, and accumulation. And I say that if you have a dream and you want to follow it and you've got the capital to do it, go for it. But to put that private business's number in perspective, let's take a look. $0.28 trillion works out to roughly 280 billion in private business value for black folk. $280 billion. Now, that's a lot of bread. $280 billion, fam, is a lot of motherfucking bread. Let's just keep it a buck, right? So hats off to our brothers and sisters who are entrepreneurs. Hats off. One company. I'm just going to name one company. This one company has gross receipts per annum more than the value of all black businesses put together. Walmart. Walmart per annum pulls in more money, gross receipts, than the value of all black businesses in the country. One company. One. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like it. See, fam, this is what Yvette and Antonio, shout out to my brother CRU, my esteemed brother, salute brother, welcome to the broadcast. Taj brought up an important point. If you don't have a customer base with the money that for your product, you can't get your business off the ground. Facts. You know, one of the things that Yvette says often that I really have cleaved to is that black people are full of plugs and no outlets. You know, all of our aspirations in isolation, fam, are not an issue. They're not bad. It's all right to want to be an entrepreneur. It's all right to want to get involved in tech or do hot shot trucking or whatever it is that strikes your fancy, right? It's all right to want to do those things. It's all right for you to go to school and study philosophy instead of finance, right? Those things in a vacuum, in isolation are not a fucking problem. The problem is that we don't live our lives in isolation. Even when we were segregated, we were not isolated. We were not isolated. Because had we been completely isolated, I don't even think we would have seen the growth we saw in businesses like in Durham and in Greenwood. I don't think we would have seen it then. Because a lot of those black businesses did business with white people. Matter of fact, I would argue that if you're a business owner and you're not looking to do business with anybody who has a dollar, you're fucking cracked. You don't deserve to be in business. So we know for a fact that even in the height of Jim Crow, at the nadir of race relations, right, at the darkest time for our people other than chattel slavery, we know that there were still black people that did business, that had to do business with whites. Sharecroppers had to do business with whites. It wasn't black people having sharecroppers, sharecropping other black folk like that. If they were, the numbers were so minuscule, we don't even remember who they are. If you were a farmer, you had to deal with whites. Why? Because as long as we could go back, whites owned the land, the real estate, the soil, the dirt. So tell me, my fellow tribespeople, tribesmen and tribeswomen, unless there is a distribution of a land base to our people at some point, how are we going to make any type of living where we don't have to depend or deal with or give more resources to whites? Make it make sense. What I find interesting, by the way, shout out to my beloved sister Kendra, also known as the Crimson Cure. Welcome to the broadcast, sister, and salam to you. Jacqueline's in the house, by the way, too, as well. Shout out to all of you. Brother Paul said, deal with the data before it deals with you. I could not say it any better. This is the data, fam. This is the data. Here's the thing. Remember, we saw that black wealth in 1989 was what, 1 trillion or so, 1 to 2 trillion. Look at this. If you added all of this up, we barely break the 5 trillion mark total. This is everything. This is real estate. This is buildings. This is stocks, bonds, mutual funds, pensions, businesses. This is everything, every asset. Barely 5 trillion. Shit. This number essentially means that we've gone nowhere. You know why? Because this isn't even reflective of inflation. This number actually reflects that we've gotten worse off in assets in the last 30 years. Because remember, 1989, we saw white valuation of businesses, buildings, real estate, pensions, all that at 20 trillion, 20 plus trillion, actually like close to 22, 23 trillion, right? And we see it at over 100 trillion in 2019, right? So if you were accounting for inflation and just general economic growth, that's damn nearly 4 times. But when you look at what we had in 1989, we haven't even grown 4 times. This number doesn't even reflect 4 times growth. So this means that even if you account for inflation, we actually fell back. Thank you, Brother Cease, man. I appreciate the love, fam. Thank you so much. We actually fell back in the last 30 years. In aggregate, fam, in aggregate. See, this is the thing that I need for all of you to understand. When we talk about this, we're not talking about you. I'm not sitting here shitting on your efforts. I'm not maligning your work, what you've done. Fam, hats off to any of you who have managed to pull, kicking, dragging, and screaming any degree of success in this life. Bearing the taint of being the bottom caste in the United States of America. You deserve every single accolade we could throw at you and then some. This isn't about you. It's about us. It's about we. But many of us are too busy focusing on our own individual selves so that we don't understand the actual real status of us as a collective. Too many little atoms bouncing all around, refusing to come together as an element to understand this shit. Want to see something interesting though, fam? Look at the growth of other. Remember how I told you who other is? That's East Indians, Pakistanis, Asians, Pacific Islanders. That's everybody else who's not Hispanic, black, or white. They've done pretty goddamn well. Matter of fact, they've done better than we have in the last 30 years. But we're xenophobes when we question why that should even be the case. We're racist when we bring up the fact that anybody can come here from anywhere and see the growth. Get a chance to get a slice of the good old American pie. Yet the people who are the foundation, who built it, who maintain it, who sustain it, who believe in it more than anybody, who uphold the values of what America's supposed to be. The ones who everybody gets permission from for support for their efforts, their goals, their dreams, their aspirations. The people who give their imprimatur, their blessing on everybody's actions. We're the ones who say to everybody when they come here, this is the land of opportunity, come and get it. And we not only respect you coming here to get it, but we'll help you to get it. And we've been slitting our own goddamn throats for decades with a little bit of help from the Democrats. 30 years, fam. 30 years. Look at where Hispanics were in 89. Hispanics were not that large a population group in the United States in 89. Remember, there was immigration reform in 81 that kind of opened the doors to everybody to come in, right? To come here and from various countries all around the world. But before that, Hispanics were a blip. There were some, mostly congregated in like Southwest, in the South, stuff like that. Most northern towns back in the 60s would have one, maybe two Latinos, probably a Mexican, right? They were a non-factor. And even they have had some degree of growth. And let's not forget another key thing about Hispanic here too. This doesn't reflect a key fact that is a benefit, direct benefit to Hispanics. They have a homeland. You see, fam, if they come here, they can get the bag. And then through remittances, send money to their home countries. That's one benefit that they have directly. So some of their assets, some of their resources leave here. We can only count what's here, right? But what about the billions of dollars that go to Mexico, that go to Central America? What about the billions of dollars that get sent over to India and Pakistan? What about the billions of dollars that goes back to Africa? There are nations on this planet that without remittances wouldn't be nations. That's a fact. There are nations on this planet whose the majority of their GDP as a nation comes from global remittances from the United States or Western Europe, like places like the UK, France, Germany, so on and so forth. That their entire GDP is remittances, that without it, they wouldn't exist as a nation or a government. I want you all to ask yourself just this one question. Just one. Given the historical reality of our circumstances, that our ancestors were free to starve, to eat wind, and to drink river water. Given that the United States consistently has passed off our patrimony, our legacy, our inheritance to everybody except us. Considering the fact that even if everyone else's growth was to stop while ours continued, it would be 223 years. And as you can see, in the last 30 years, we haven't grown. We've actually gone backwards, relatively speaking. We've actually diminished in wealth over the last 30 years. Given all of those things, what do we have to be thankful to America for other than our own families, our own tribe, our own people. What do we have to be thankful for this to this country for? Right? Like tomorrow, this nation will give itself a collective pat on the back. The greatest nation on the planet was founded and celebrated on this day. Celebrated, right? The founding of a new nation, a new people. B-Man, feel free to call in, fam. I would love to hear some of your ideas on exactly how we're supposed to, I don't know, do the same. How we're supposed to buy, what is it, $23.29 trillion in real estate. How are we supposed to be able to get access to almost 23.5 million or trillion dollars in corporate equities and mutual funds? I'd love to hear some of your ideas, because I've got a few, right? When situations in a nation get this bad, there's only one of two ways that this can be resolved. Either through political action and a will across the entire political body to address it, or revolution. And I can be the first one to tell you, having been involved in a little bit of revolutionary shit in my day, without strong alliances from this group, and from this group, with this group, we ain't got an iceberg's chance in hell. So I'm guessing that leaves politics, at least in the short term. So I got an answer. But it seems like too many people don't like my answer. They don't like politics. What? Man, you mean we supposed to like know who these candidates is and shit, and we supposed to like try to aggregate our votes and all this old mess? And what about the electoral college? And you know, the fact is that Americans just don't support like this and that and the third. Right? So they don't like my answer. They don't like that we need to advocate in the political sphere for a radical, transformational reorganization of every motherfucking thing. They don't like my answer. So I'm always interested to hear other people's answers. I mean, fam, there's the information. And B-Man, let me ask you one other thing, fam, before you call in, because I know I would love to hear from you, right? We do discussion here. We do debate discussion, right? And we come to a meeting of the minds, fam. But let me ask you one other question. When you say that they got it right, and we should be looking to do the same, are you saying then that we should be looking to commit genocide against entire groups of people, fam? Are we supposed to look at robbing, raping, and pillaging? Which particular ethnic group or groups do we, the black descendants of United States slavery, enslave? Which ones? Which ones are they? Because that was how all of this was built. This is how all of this was built, fam. Right? How you start a thing is how you finish a thing. This country was built at sword point, musket point, germ warfare, bloodshed, theft, rapine, murder. So B-Man, who do we start with first? I mean, that was how they've gotten to this point, right? So who do we murk first? Which groups do we enslave? I just wanted to ask you those questions, fam. If you decide to call in, I would love to hear from you. Who do we start with? How many of us can we count on being slave masters, stealing people's property, right? Practicing germ warfare against entire cities, right? Doing scorched earth in entire swathes of agricultural regions, poisoning wells and water sources, right? A good question. Four two five 296 1980 is the number, fam. I agree. Fam, I agree, B-man. We need solutions. I offered you one. Politics. Radical, transformational, crazy, never seen in the history of the United States politics. Where we demand everything and take nothing less. And wherever the chips fall is where they fall. That's my solution. That is, in my opinion, the solution. What's yours? What's yours? I mean, if we're going to talk about how much successful, we're going to measure what they're doing as a measurement of success, then let's talk Turkey. Who do we start killing first? Who do we trick and defraud out of their land first? I didn't say you had to be a yes man. Nobody's asking for that. But see, B-man, here's the thing. There's too many of us that think we got all the answers, who refuse to look at the basic motherfucking information that's there. What I shared with you today, fam, is not nothing new. It's not nothing new, fam. You can go right. I took you to the source, the horse's mouth, the Fed, the people that print up the money and distribute it into the economy using the U.S. Treasury. Them folk. This isn't new. But here's the thing. We won't even look at that basic information and let that sink in and let that be the lens through which we view the things that we need to do. And I'm sorry, but I am here to disillusion you. All of those black nationalists out there, you feel me? All of them out there talking about warring on the white man, show me. Show me how you war on the white man without a single hospital that belongs to you. Show me how you war on the white man without a single arms manufacturer that you control and own. And show me how you get one of those. But show me how you get to be a weapons manufacturer that you own and control without having to deal with the same people that you're telling us we're going to have to fight. These are basic ass questions, fam. Basic. Like, it's taking me literally no thought to come up with these questions. And they all warrant answers. Fam, I want to hear from those of you who think we got something to be thankful for as an aggregate to America. But I also, fam, want to hear what you are thankful for. Right? Tell me the truth of what you're thankful for. Right? Everybody gets to spinning yarns and telling stories. I'm so thankful that blah, blah, skippity woo woo. Come on, fam. You know what I'm thankful for? Man, I'm thankful that we still here. That's real talk. I'm thankful every motherfucking day that my people are still a tribe. That in spite of all of the fuckery, all of the clear fuckery that we've had to face for nigh on 400 years now, he ain't killed us yet. Right? I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that I've got enough of a brain to be able to see the truth of my situation and not flinch from it. I'm thankful for my courage. Because it does take courage, fam. It takes courage to let go of your illusions. It takes courage to let go of the narratives you told yourself in an attempt to try to rationalize the irrational, to try to make sense of the insensible, right? Alma says she thankful her dog has bronchitis and not heartworms. That's a good damn thing to be thankful for. I hope your dog mends up real quick, because heartworms is a killer. I'm glad your dog is still gonna be with us for a little bit. Fam, I'm not saying we don't have stuff to be thankful for, but I am saying that we got a hell of a lot less to be thankful for than we think we do. Right? Adrian, that's not true, sister. It always depends, of course, on where you go. I bought many a gun from militia cats. You speak the right words, the door is open to you. (425-296-1980), fam. I want to hear what you're thankful for. I want to hear, though, what you think about this information. Like, it's not new, fam, but to see it in such stark reality, right? Like, that shit in that chart, fam, is inescapable. There is no amount of rationalization, fam. There is no amount of storytelling. There's no amount of narrative weaving, yarn spinning, that's gonna make that shit make any type of sense other than what it says. And what it says is clearly this: we have and remain the bottom caste of the United States of America. And unless we advocate in every area of human activity, we got an iceberg's chance of hell of making it in the richest country in the world. Why do you think there's so many of us willing to be pets of the white establishment? Like Bree Newsom. You know, like Michael Harriot. You know, all these bootlicks. You know, like Al Sharpton. Why do you think so many of them are willing to sell us out? They see the writing on the wall. They've been seeing the writing on the wall. That's not to say that they right for what they're doing. They're not. But seeing that data sure helps me to understand why there seems to be so damn many of them. Jockeying for butter biscuits and pet status. Why do you think that the Hispanics, the last thing they want to do is come over here and align with us? Why do you think that the last thing a Nigerian immigrant or a Kenyan immigrant or a South African immigrant or any of them, why do you think the last thing that any of them will want to do is to come over here and align with us? When they can be America's sugar-free devil's food cake, all of the melanin and none of the justice claim. If you were looking for the answer, it was right there in the information I just delivered previously. Pet pets get taken care of. Pets get the nibble on the steak at least. What I'm asking you to do today, fam, is decide whether you want to be a pet or you want to be a people. Do you want to be a toy or do you want to be a tribe? That's the same choice we've always had, fam. And now your brother, the one who loves you, is presenting you the same choice yet again. Do you want to be property or do you want to be people? We don't escape, fam, the choices that our ancestors had to make. They had to choose, and it took them 246 years to finally see the fruition of their choice, that they wanted to be people rather than be property. We fought tooth and nail over 250 documented uprisings, insurrections, and riots, work stoppages, property destruction, runaways. You know, shout out to all my Gepetomaniacs out there. We don't get to escape having to make the same choice, fam. Do we want to be pets or do we want to be people? Because if we want to be people, we're going to have to do people work. And I'm not talking about yarn spinning. I'm not talking about feel-good narratives that keep us thinking that we actually got a shot in the face of a chasm, right? Not a gap, not the racial wealth gap, the racial wealth chasm, the abyss. We need to start using more properly descriptive language to describe exactly the truth of our circumstances here, fam. Stakes is Highs in the house. Welcome to the broadcast, fam. A happy hump day and early Thanksgiving to you. 425-296-1980, fam. Talk to me. I know this is hard. This is hard to talk about. This is a subject that's difficult as hell to talk about. Because it's hard as fuck to dispute what's right there in black and white and all those other colors we saw up on the screen. Some people have told me, Brother Black, why you put so much stock in what these white folks is saying? They got an agenda. They tell lies. Yep, they do. There's one thing I learned about whiteness in America a long time ago. They never lie when they don't have to. They don't have to lie about this. From 903, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind?
Hey, Mark, it's me.
What's good, fam? What's good, fam? Talk to us.
All right, this is what I want to say about, what's the name, B-Man?
Yeah, and bro, don't make it personal.
Kind of true in a way, all right?
Fam, don't make it personal. It's all I ask. Don't make it personal.
No, it's nothing personal. What he was saying was kind of true in a way about blacks having property and so on and so forth. That was kind of true. But he also has to remember that a lot of times they were ran off that land or it was stolen from them. Because down here in Texas, when black folks were getting out of hand with owning land, they would burn down the courthouse to burn up all the records. Yep. So you couldn't find out what you owned because it happened to my fifth generation great grandfather, Manuel Maloney. It happened to him. He was getting out of hand with owning land. So they went and burnt down the courthouse. He couldn't prove out where all the paper, through paperwork or whatever, he could prove it, but they didn't care. So they just gave it to somebody else or whatever.
Yep. My ancestor moved from Henderson, Texas to Missouri, right? He had property down there, some degree of property that he was able to retain a little bit of it because my mother and them was still getting checks from Amoco from the mineral rights Now they didn't own the
Mm-hmm.
land anymore. The land had gotten taken
No,
from them.
no, the mineral rights. That's all
Right,
you
but
care about
somehow
anymore.
my great four times great grandfather was able to retain the mineral rights on the land that he
Right.
was able to get in Texas, and they were getting checks based off of the mineral rights, but the land itself had been stolen away from him. He ended up working as a railroad man, and so did his son. My great grandfather worked as a Pullman porter on the train.
Right. So, so those stories aren't true in the terms, but like you sit there, but like you were sitting there saying before, having land is great. That's really it. That really is good, but it's not nothing without the mineral rights. To be honest with you, it's really bad because they can ruin your. Okay, so if you have a house, let's say my house is sitting here, but there's oil under my house. Well, if they dig up under my house or shoot that line through my house without even being on my property, it was just being next door to the neighbor, and the neighbor sold to them. They can come over under my ground, on my mineral rights, suck that oil out, collapse my house, and they're not obligated to any of it. It happens all the time where they ruin your property. Up there, it was happening up there in North Dakota and South Dakota.
Shit is happening in Oklahoma too with all the fracking
Right.
causing earthquakes. There's an aquifer, fam, that the majority
Yeah.
of agriculture in the United States gets its water from. It's called the Aglala Aquifer. It's a deep aquifer of fresh water. It's fossil water. Fossil water
Right.
means that water has been built up over millions of years.
Yep.
They've been fracking
But
so
out there in Saudi
badly.
Arabia, and stuff in the Middle East, that's where they hide and that's where they get their water from an aquifer.
Yep.
They go down there. That's where their water comes
But here's
from.
the thing, though,
Y'all look
fam.
at it like, oh, there's a desolate place. There's nothing out there. No, the water is under the ground. They go down there, and that's how they get their water. They put a well down there, or whatever the case might be, and that's where they get their water
But
from.
check it out though, fam. What the Saudi Arabians have been doing in order to maintain their status as the oil producer of the world, and what America's doing in order to inflate its numbers as an oil producer, is they've been using techniques like steam extraction, where they do sideways drilling, where they pump steam and water chemicals and stuff into the ground. And now with fracking, what they're actually doing is cracking the shale that exists underneath the ground and using steam and chemical extraction to pull the oil from out of that shale that's cracked underground. Well, this is layers of rock, sedimentary rock, that existed underground as one solid mass. You break it up, what do you think is going to happen to the dirt on top of it? So now you're seeing sinkholes, you're seeing all this other shit, and on top of it, the aquifers, the ancient fossil waters, are now at risk of being poisoned, which would have an effect on the agriculture of the entire damn nation. Explain to me how we supposed to be successful over that without doing politics.
Well, you're not. That's why we should call in and explain where's the success going to come from if you don't have that kind of stuff solidified already in your background. They always sit there. Yvette always sit there and said about Microsoft and how he was able to have his father write the paperwork up and so on and so forth, and the loans that the guy from Amazon got. That he had a source to go to without being stressed out by a bank.
Same with Facebook. Zuckerberg was able to get loans and shit through Facebook while he was in a fucking Ivy League school. So here's the thing. Here's the thing, fam.
But a lot of these people just went to their friends and family. Where are you going to your friends and family to get that kind of money to start you anything up?
Well,
You're not. You're going to have to go to the bank, and a lot of people don't have the credit to go get that. And two, they're going to sit there and look at you. No, we're not going to give you that kind of money. We don't believe in your dream.
Yeah, they got it. They got it like that,
Yeah.
and they pass it. Look, I think Tone did a broadcast where he was talking about this article that shows that $108 in assets is going to be passed to the next generation. Now we just saw in 2019 second quarter Fed statistics that white wealth overall as an aggregate is around 103 to 107 trillion dollars.
Wow.
That they're passing on, right?
Well, that's why I said. That's why we should call in. I told you this before, so it's not me trying to be braggish or anything like that. I told you all this before. I have a 4-bedroom home, 2-car garage, 2 bathrooms on 5 acres in Texas. All right. I know that seems like You're somewhat of a unicorn, but you're still broke. You don't have any money. I don't have any money. I get my money. My money comes from the VA, right? Okay, so I get a VA check every month, right? At 100%. All right. Even with that coming in, I still got to do something on the side. That's why I said when he was talking like that, I get money. What do you mean by I get money? I don't understand. That's what I'm trying to say. Make me understand, because I want to understand what you're really talking about to see if you're really dealing with the facts. You're just really dealing with you. I'm dealing with me, and I'm dealing with the facts, and I still don't see.
I'm with you.
My truck is 20 years old. I drive a 1998 Suburban. I just told you I put it in the shop. It's costing me $3,600 to get out the shop.
Black man.
I don't have any money. I just pay for an AC unit, $3,200. I don't have any money.
I'm with you on that. This is the thing that eats me up, because I'm with you on that one, right? All these black folk out here that's telling us that money and resources and all that shit is so easy to get. Okay?
No.
Right? No. I'm arguing their viewpoint, right? That we can somehow or another pull ourselves up out of this abyss, across this chasm that exists, right? But then when you ask them to show us, right? Okay, so you got it, fam. You found the golden key that unlocks the door. Okay?
Right.
Then show us, right? Show us that what you're doing is not just successful for you, but can be successful for all of us as an aggregate to close this huge chasm of a wealth gap. They can't do it. None of them can do it. They have their individual success that they point to, and that's really about it.
Exactly. That's what I said. Say, even if you told us, right? So even if I said, Mark, like this is all you got to do to go make $100,000, right? Even if we all did it all together, all at the same time, you know what would happen? There still would be enough to be spread it around. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all doing the same thing.
And
there's not going to be enough of it to be spread around at the end of the day.
I'm still trying to figure out, fam, how we're supposed to do all of that the same way, right? How we're supposed to do it all the same way, pardon me, brother. How we supposed to do it all the same way, right? Which means that whatever we did, if it's 38 million of us, well, if we took into account the adults, right, 20 million, ADOS or black descendants of American U.S. slavery, right? If all of us were to go into a market at once, we would saturate that market. And how in the hell are we supposed to get past market saturation? And on top of that, how are we supposed to do that in a way that only keeps, see, here's the thing. These people come to us and they tell us that we have to do this while only circulating our money within our group, right? They bring up numbers like white folks' money circulates 13 times before it leaves the white aggregate, and Asian money circulates, this number of times before it leaves the Asian aggregate. Okay, cool, right? How are we supposed to ensure that we meet our daily needs, right? We got a powerful need to eat sometime this month. We need water, we need homes, right? We need transportation, all that shit. How are we supposed to circulate whatever resources we got? So we're able to get past market saturation. We're able to get past obvious and patent discrimination out there. In other words, they would hella enforce the law on us, making sure that if we didn't cross our I's and dot our T's, that our money gets seized away from us and stuff like that. So overcoming all of that, right? How, without any infrastructure, are we to ensure that that money just stays within our community more than the moment we get it?
It's not, because, like you've already said this before. If you did have some money, all right, and you live in a trodden area, down area, right, the police will stop you and ticket you so much to make sure you don't have it at the end of the month. That's how a lot of us get in trouble anyways and get in trouble with the police. They will put such a pressure on you for child support to make sure you don't have it for it. How does anybody get $40,000 a month for child support? It's astonishing to me. Even if I had 100,000 cows, it wouldn't cost me $40,000 a month to feed them all. It doesn't make any sense for them to put that kind of pressure on a man to cut that kind of check every month for child support. It's just a way of keeping you down. It's not a way.
I don't even want to go into that, man. Right now, I pay child support. I'm unemployed, so I pay like a minimal amount. Not that I don't want to take care of my son. I can't it, right? But I pay a minimal amount of child support every month. But because I'm in arrears, Back in the day,
Yeah.
when I was homeless and all that other shit, I ended up like about 28,000 in the hole. You know what they did? They took away my driver's license. So I
Yep.
drove without a license for well over a decade. I went to jail at least once per year, every year
Yep.
for decades, right? They took
But
away my
but, but if
passport.
they're arresting you, well, hold on, Mark. If they're arresting you one time a year, they know where you live and all that kind of stuff. They're doing it for the numbers.
Oh, most that
To
fam,
show
I
that
know what
what
it
they're doing
is.
to
But
father on child support.
I'm
It's
just
numbers
throwing it
game on
out
that
there
one.
that was my lived experience. I don't have a passport and can't get one. So, fam,
No.
this is how crazy the system is set up. I can get a job offer from, say, a business in France, right? They like, Mark, we love you, blah blah blah. We want you. We're gonna pay you more than enough for me to be able to take care of my son, take care of my current family, and everything, pay off my debts, the whole 9 yards. I couldn't even take the job because I couldn't get a passport to go and live in France. So they
That's
tell
sad.
me that I'm supposed to work to pay, to support my children. Meanwhile, they take away my driver's license. I still have my driver's license now. I haven't went past the point because I'm making regular payments. They haven't taken my driver's license, but I still have not gotten to a point where I can get my passport and be able to even leave the country.
Well, here you can't even register your vehicle. If you want to get your car registered or whatever, you can't register until you pay until you're back up on your child support. And my uncle is 67 years old or 77 years old, and the other day he went to go get his driver's license. They won't let him have a driver's license until he proves of his birth certificate. He has to prove that he was born here, and he's an ADOS. And he's like, back then he was born. He was literally born in the barn. He was born in he wasn't born in the hospital. He was
But
born in
see,
the
fam,
house.
but here's the thing: immigrants, you can't even ask them about their immigration
No,
status.
no, don't you do that. Don't
You
you do
can't.
that.
That's against the law now. You can't even
Yeah, it's
ask them
against the
about their
law. Yep.
immigration status. In New York,
Exactly.
to refer to somebody in a fashion that, like, if you use the improper pronoun or you refer to them with ethnic slurs, you can be locked up in jail and fined up to $250,000. But we can hear
Oh,
nigga, 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 nigga 50 times a day, and nobody's got
no,
shit to say about it.
no, they can use eggplant and every other kind of little roundabout words they want to with no problem. Your little eggplant, they got their little, those Italians got their little way
Yeah,
of
you
saying
know,
stuff.
eggplant, or if you Latino, they
Yeah.
call you like a little mayate or whatever. Yeah, they could use
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the terms that they want.
something under the radar, and that's why, man, today's show, I just wish he would call in and explain where he's talking about. This is going to come from because we're so far behind. You said 245 years to even catch up, and I heard, pretty much said that 245 years to catch up or whatnot.
Yep, 223 years to catch up.
So this has to be generational. It just can't be all about, B-Man 120. This can't be just this generation. You got to be looking out for your kids, your grandkids, your great-great-grandkids, and all that.
You know,
And that's what they're saying. I have this land.
Seeds, fam. We got to plant seeds for trees that we may not be able to sit under. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing my genealogy, and I thought that I had traced my ancestry back to an enslaved ancestor, but there was a fire in Washington, D.C. that destroyed a lot of census records that makes it hard for some of us to be able to do it. Now, does this mean that I'm not going to continue to fight for ADOS? Of course not. I am ADOS. I know that, right? But if reparations come tomorrow, your man may not even be able to prove it. Now, this is not to say that we can't, we can't advocate it. It's right. It's just. My point is, fam, is that at the end of the day, anything that we do that denigrates a transformational, radical ass politics in lieu of war, because I'm gonna just keep it a buck, fam. Politics is war by other means, right? So to all you revolutionary brothers and sisters out there, I'm still asking you to fight. I'm still asking you to commit to battle, but I'm asking you to use ballots instead of bullets. I'm asking you to use the pen rather than the damn sword, right? I'm not saying that it might not ultimately come to bloodshed. It may. And when that time comes, you won't hear shit from Mark Black. But until we reach that point, we've got so much work to do.
Right. Right. I just hate it because I called my cousin the other day, and after I talked to you last time, I finally had it out with him, and we talked and everything, and they started realizing what I was sitting there saying. So everything is going to be better this year. They're going to start helping me pay tax and everything. But
Yes.
this is partly what you're saying is being together. What am I trying to say? Being together is going to be, difficult in a lot of circumstances. You see what I'm saying?
It is. But it's the toughest job we'll ever love. Us coming together. It, like, I even feel where B-Man's coming from. You see what I'm saying? Like,
That's what, my cousin. That's what when I spoke to her, I said, told her about, she's talking about immigration issue is a black issue. I said, I just don't see that. I said, well, hold on. Do you mean a black issue? Or do you mean an ADOS issue? And she thought about it, and she said, no, you're right. It's a black issue. It's not an ADOS issue.
It's their issue. And again, I don't have anything. See, fam, I don't have anything against immigrant individuals, right? Illegal or legal. People are people. I have a heart, okay? I'm not an idiot. I'm not a monster. What I'm against is policies, systems, institutions that continually force me to choose between the well-being, the growth, and the uplift of my own people over someone else. I can't abide that. And there's no one who can convince me that I should, right? I can look at the data just like anybody else. I can see what's happening just like anybody else. And I understand what my people's interests are, because my people's interests are my interests. That's the
Right.
See, fam, if you take nothing away from this broadcast today, take this with you. Your people, your tribe's interests are your interests. In other words, no matter how well you think you're doing individually, and some of you are doing very well, kudos to you, right? But no matter how well you're doing no matter how well your family might be doing, you will never rise any higher than the lowest one of your people. And that right there is the thing that I'm thankful for the most, because we now have the language, we now have the frame to express these ideas that makes it clear that we have no heart when it comes to putting other people's interests above ours. That we are no longer going to be anyone's mules.
And that's what I wish that a lot of progressives would stop and listen to, and stop saying that ADOS is just like it was back in the day. That's what illegal immigrants are. They're ADOS, just in a new form today. And I'm like, no, it's not really not fair, man, because we fought the wars. We've been here. We've been fought against by our own government, where they left their government and come here, and our government treats them great. Well, if they like their country so much, you should have been fighting the fight like we had to fight back in the day.
Exactly. I mean, if they built from just the best stock and super successful. By the way, shout out to Cool thank you so much, fam, for the tip. I appreciate it. But if they were capable of so much success, if they're just so hard working, show me that hard work by where you at. Right? Go to Sierra Leone and put in that hard work, right? Go to Mumbai and put in that hard work. You feel me? Don't come here and try to demonstrate how hard you can work, because here the predominant group of people never had to work hard a day in their life. So if you come here, all you have to do is align with them, and you don't have to work hard either.
Right. Well, and this is where I get a lot of, especially with my relatives. Somebody said earlier in the chat that they said I'm racist. I said, well, I guess I'm racist right along with you. And I don't. It sounds like you're being cruel, because when I talk to my family about it, and I try not to do it a lot because it always goes left. I just leave it alone. But they listen to the way I talk, and they said, man, you just sound like a racist. You sound like one of those guys who be out there marching with the flags, with Confederate flags and stuff. And I'm really trying to say, no, it's a sense of purpose for us to save our own self, because we're on the rim of extinction here. ringing the toilet bowl right now, and you got all these stupid progressives sitting there saying it's the same thing, and it's just not. Tom Hartman says this all the time, and I get so frustrated with that guy. I watch the show because you gotta listen to everybody. You gotta listen to what everybody's saying.
Yep.
So I listen to him to try to listen and understand. But it's so frustrating to listen to him because when I call his show, he just blows it off as, "Oh, you're just being divisive." He called it divisive. You're just being divisive. You're not trying to get along with your people. Africans aren't my people, Tom. I'm talking about ADOS. And he just says you're just being wrong. You're a person of color, and you're just not down with the people of color. Oh my gosh! And when you hear somebody talk to you like that, it's like trying to get through to an ignoramus.
But you know
not
what?
even
Though,
if they're
fam,
5 years old, just
the
plain
key
ignorant.
the key thing to note is stop talking to them. See, fam, one of the things that I've done for my own mental health is I don't sit here and debate with folks who don't have any horse in the right. I'm not to say that I hate them. I don't much care what any immigrant or anybody else has to say about what my are as an American, right? They have their interests. They can advocate for their damn interests. I have mine.
Right.
I don't give a damn about what happens with Hispanics or diasporan Africans or continental Africans or anything else. I'm not going to be flattened. My interests are not going to be flattened into, just everybody else's random interests, a swirl of conflict, of often conflicting interests, right? In the hope that the government I demand represent me somehow or another reaches into the pot of interest and pulls out mine. Because strangely enough, when that hand swirls around and they pull out an interest to address, mine never comes up. No, fuck that, right?
Well, answer me this last question, Mark, and I'll let you go, and I'll let somebody else get on the line. Why do you think that we're the only ones? Okay, so out of all those other groups you just got finished mentioning, right? But none of those other groups ever get hit with the racist thing, the xenophobic thing, the all that kind of stuff. Why are we the ones being hit with that so hard?
I'll tell you why, fam. You're not gonna like the answer, but I'll tell you why. Because we care.
All right, go ahead.
I'm just gonna keep it a buck, fam. Let me drop this on you before you split.
Okay.
My mother told me when I was a boy, she said, son, said a monkey can't climb up on your back unless you bend over and right? We are still at this really strange point in our advocacy for ourselves. And it's really only because it's relatively new to us. Like I said, we've had people talk about the bits and pieces that make up our advocacy for decades. Shout out to all of them, right? Across the board, right? But it's only been very recently where we've been able to perform the synthesis needed to have the frame, the lens behind which we view things, right? And so because this frame is new to us, there are still many negative traits that we retain from before we had this frame available. One of those negative traits that we have as ADOS or FBA or whatever the case may be is we have a tendency to give a fuck about what other people are thinking. Now, at one time in this country, that was survival behavior for us. We had to know what the general populace around us was thinking because of the possibility of race riots breaking out, police coming and tearing up your shit, so on and so forth, right? That was survival behavior. That was behavior we developed from having gone through the crucible of what America is, right? But in this day and time, where fearless advocacy is needed more than anything else, where you cannot be afraid to die. You cannot be afraid to lose livelihood. You cannot be afraid in a time like this to care over much about what other people have to say only works out to your detriment. It's the reason why it's so frustrating to you, fam, is because you still give a fuck. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that it isn't to your credit, but I am saying that it isn't to your benefit. I don't give a fuck what immigrants have. I don't give a fuck what Joe the plumber's got to say. If he's not involved in politics or economics, I could give less than a damn of what Joe the plumber got to say. I don't care what Becky or Brad got to say. I don't give a fuck about what Maria and Juan got to say. I don't give a fuck about what Ling Ling and Yang have to say. I don't give a fuck about none of them. I don't. And I'm going to speak pure, clear advocacy for me and mine. Period. The damn end. And
Okay,
fam,
and I
when you
get
get
that,
to
but
that point, that shit'll start rolling off you like water off a duck back, man.
well, I get that part. The part that I'm saying, that this is why I call into a show for the most part, is because he has a big audience, and a lot of them are black who call into his show, and I'm trying to catch them out there too. But I also try to make sure that he understands how much of a fool you sound like and how racist and he's not racist, he's just raceless, which makes him racist. You know what I'm saying? He's so raceless that he becomes a racist and not even knowing that he's hurting ADOS. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I try to hit him, because he has a pretty big audience, and I'm trying to say, man, what you just said was BS.
Then tell
to a
him
black
that.
man.
Tell him that and stand on your
friends.
square, fam. You don't have to see. This is the part that I'm telling you. You don't have to argue with this motherfucker. When you have the data on your side, when you have the information, right, that shows clearly the veracity, the validity of what it is you're saying, you don't debate with anybody. The only time you have a debate is when there's a lack of clarity, right? If the data could be as one way as opposed to another one, debate is warranted, right? Because you need debate in order to clarify exactly what the proper interpretation of that data is. But when you have the data and it's so unambiguous, so clear that there is no discussion required, man, speak your piece, drop the mic, and let him deal with whatever his audience is going to be on afterwards. That's not your job to massage his audience's feelings and be worried about what he's talking about and this, that, and the third. When you call in, if your advocacy is solid, your stance in the data is solid, your position is unassailable, then you stand there like your ass is Superman, watching the bullets go flying off you. Who cares about what they talking about? Look, Black Magic said Tom. I'm assuming she's referring to Tom Hartman. I'll call in to Tom Hartman and say whatever the fuck I want. And if Tom Hartman don't like it, he don't have to answer my call. But I'm not going to sit there and give him a pass. I'm not going to be like, well, you just don't get it, Tom. You just don't get it. No, I'm going to say what I need to say and drop the motherfucking mic and let the chips fall where they may. That's facts. Because a lot of these so-called bullshit-ass progressives are what I call Tolstoy progressives. They riding our motherfucking backs as political and economic mules, swearing up and down that they will do everything they can to help us, except the one thing we need them to do, get the fuck off our backs. No. I don't care about your white fragility. I don't care about your feelings about where the whites are going and this, that, and I don't care about none of that. I don't have the luxury to care about it.
Facts. All right, man. Man, I appreciate you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as
well. Shout out to the family. Everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody.
With your family squared away, man. I look forward to you having a great year of growth in 2020.
Thank you. You too, sir. I appreciate it.
Peace. Fam, it's as simple as that. This is not a time for milk toast, weak-willed, jelly-backed, wilting lilies. You got to be full-throated and full bore with this advocacy or you're failing. 301 is your man, Mark Black. What's your name, where you're calling from, and what's on your mind? Make sure to turn down the background too as well.
What's happening, brother the Black Sheep?
Hey, brother, how you doing?
This is the elder from 301.
Yes, sir, elders. Grace us with some jewels, man. Lord knows we need them today.
Yeah, we need them, brother. But you're on point, my brother. You're on point. So I'm thankful for the awareness that is a lot of the awareness that is coming to the forefront now. But I'm I'm thankful for ADOS, and I think it's time that we realize if we take a look, if we're able to just look at how people function in this world and so forth, if we look at how the immigrants function, if we look at how the Caucasian communities, Jewish community, and everybody function, they functioning in tribes, they functioning in groups. We got to come to that awareness. I think we get caught up into thinking that we can that we just a part of a whole, that our power and our strength and our forces lie to just being accepted as having accepted by everybody and so forth, and not functioning in a group. When you look at the immigrants that's coming over here, when you look at the doc and all of them, all of those people are functioning in a group, and their interest is number one.
Thank you.
ADOS got to realize what is our number one priority and so forth, and we are number one. I'm not against interracial marriages. I'm not against any type of marriage, but you got to realize that if you marry interracially, as they might say, or you marry another person of another ethnicity or another persuasion or whatsoever, they're going to try they're going to maintain their group identity. They're not going to give up. If you marry a Jewish, I marry a Jewish woman, I marry a Filipino woman, I marry a Nigerian woman, I marry whatever, they still going to maintain their group identity. They're going to look at their power and strength and so forth as coming from their group, from their tribe and everything. And we got to come to that awareness.
Brother Elder, you said a word. Let me repeat it so that the family catches it. You said that they are going to be aware of the power that comes from the group they're a part of. That right there says it all. We as a group can have power in this country. But the issue is that we can only have power in this country as a group. This atomization where we want to align with our sexuality, our religion, or lack of it, or this, that, and the third, none of that shit is going to make a bit of difference for us as a people. We have to understand that everybody else functions as a group. Even the so-called Republicans with their aversion to identity politics, they operate as a group. Everybody in the country that goes after power, wealth, resources, access, maneuvers as a unit, they may have their own individual takes on things, right? But you don't have 50 million chiefs out here. What you got is a few a few chiefs and a whole heaping gob of Indians who understand that it's in their interest to follow these chiefs, right? The chiefs being the president of the United States, the Republicans, the Democrats, the judiciary, the banking system, and so on and so forth, right? White folks understand truly that in order to maintain their position, their historical and current prerogatives, that they can't go too hard against that shit. So to expect them to understand your position that says, no, we demand transformation, we demand that these things either change to benefit us or they go away, they will never understand that. They will never accept that. So stop pretending that they're going to accept your advocacy. They are not. Because you advocating finally, you and I, as ADOS, right? FBA, as the black descendants of United States slavery, as we begin to advocate as a group, right? As we start to move and operate dynamically as a group, it means automatically the diminishment of a whole lot of folk. We need to get real and we need to get honest about that shit. Not we can't keep trying to make the argument that if we come up, everybody wins. That's not true to a certain extent. It can't be true.
Right.
When you have a oblate sphere, right, a globe with finite resources, to devote more resources to us means less resources to somebody else. Now, I expect them to fight vigorously to protect their
Oh yeah.
resources and their access to it, just as I expect
Sure.
us to fight vigorously for our access and our chance at
Right.
those resources.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But if you read Frantz Fanon or Frantz Fanon, he's always emphasizing maintaining this state of consciousness. He said you got to be aware. You got to maintain this awareness. It's as though I've been in conversations. I've been in conversation with different people, like different groups of people, like the Koreans, maybe the Caucasians, or maybe the Spanish. You can be in a conversation with them about the weather, but when you speak of something that is in opposition or is in counter to their interests and so forth, you'll see a light go on in them.
Yep.
I've been in the market talking to a Caucasian and so forth, and then we might just be talking about apples and so forth, and then I might say, well, I don't appreciate the policy and so forth. You see a light that if they think it's a light that goes off in them, or it's a whole temperament, whole attitude that change when you speak, when you get on their true interest in their identity and everything and what they have embraced or accepted or adopted, whichever way you might want to put it. There's a light that goes off in them. It's got to come a time when, I pray that, I just, not to pray, but I just hope it comes a time that we would have that same vibrancy or that same energy or that same light that goes off when someone is a counter to ADOS interests or what is best for our, advocacy or what is best for us.
It's going to happen because it's got no choice but to happen. See, like Tone always says, and like other people say, if you don't deal with reality, reality's going to deal with you. We've had, I should say, let me rephrase this. We have taken the luxury, because it is truly a luxury. We have taken the luxury of assuming that our aspiration equals reality. That as we think, so it will be, right? You got all these people talking about, we just got to manifest things and this, that, and the third, right? And I get it, but that's a luxury. Because at the end of the day, nothing happens without action. Nothing happens without action. You can sit there and have the most positive mental attitude. You can say that, I come from the baddest group of people on the planet Earth and all of that. And that's all true and that's all fine. But at the end of the day, Elder, and I know that you'll appreciate this, at some point, you have to just engage with reality. And the reality of things is simply this, that we exist in a milieu where one ethnic group controls nearly everything. Nearly everything. And every other ethnic group, every other tribe, if you will, is working to get their piece of what that ethnic group has. Right? Now, if that's the reality of the circumstance, we know that everyone is doing this, then it only stands to reason the only way that we will be able to be in any degree successful is to operate under the same principle. In other words, like you said, Elder, that light needs to come on the second something happens or is said or discussed or addressed that is antithetical to your collective interests.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, you have a way of putting things together. I have many. It's thoughts that go through my mind, but to look at history and so forth. When we look at history, and we see history, and we realize what the Chinese people have become, what the Vietnamese people have become, or whatever and the people have had to come. It has been a momentous struggle against their own people. They had to fight. They fought civil. If you want to call it civil wars and stuff like Mao's revolution and so forth was fought against Chiang Kai-shek. Ho Chi Minh and so forth was fought against whoever the leader down in South Vietnam. But Ho Chi Minh of the North, he had to fight against his own people. We're gonna have that. We got to realize, like we talk about the bootlicks and butter biscuits and whatever we want to call them, or the coons or whatever. We got to fight against them. They're going to be in strong opposition to us getting our just due. But it's, as Yvette says, it's going to be some that's going to be included and some going to be excluded.
That's facts.
But we got to realize. We got to realize that, like people will say, like somebody will, like when we have our disputes, when you watch The Godfather and stuff like that, they was fighting for position of power amongst themselves. You didn't see when all the dons were sitting around the table. You didn't see you didn't see any black people sitting around. You didn't see any Adolf's people around there. They was talking about how they were going to exploit the Adolf's community by bringing drugs and so forth in the community. They said, well, we'll do, the Godfather, Marlon Brando, he didn't really want to go along with the drug business and so forth. He wanted to maintain the other vices and so forth, but the other dons said, no, we got to get into this white powder. But where we're going to put it at, and a lot of black people went to see that movie, but they found no objections to it. We're going to put the drugs in the black community. That was what they agreed upon and so forth. But this thing that when people try to say we're being divisive and stuff, no, we're not being divisive. We're trying to bring about solidarity, and to bring about solidarity, we're going to have to fight some of our own. We're going to have to eliminate some, exclude some of our own. Some of our own has got to go.
You're right, Elder. I mean,
they got to go.
Let's just keep it a
They got to go.
Charity starts at home, but so does house cleaning, right? You don't go and try to clean your neighbor's house when your house filthy, right? There's people that definitely need to be addressed and consigned to the outer darkness. I'm not in this to try to aggregate people that aren't for unity with us. I'm not a peacemaker. You know what? One of the most powerful things Yeshua said in the Bible, he said, I did not come to bring peace, but a sword to set mother against, daughter and father against. Look, sometimes, fam, righteousness requires a separation. I don't mean that like in the sense of segregation. It just means that if you're on this advocacy, you got to be prepared to tell some people to either get on board or to fall the fuck back. Pardon my language, Elder, but you get where I'm coming from. And see,
get out the way.
Yeah,
get out the way.
These fools that we give way too much energy to, just keep it in a buck, in my humble opinion. Trust me, the petty demon will ride my ass like nobody else. But at the same token, we spend a lot of time giving airtime. Like recently, Bree Newsom put ADOS in a post.
Oh yeah.
And we spent days engaging Bree Newsom. What if she put up an ADOS post and none of us replied? We'd be stuck with the same old lame ass, progressive ass audience she got. Fine, let her have them. When
she's a distraction.
Call comes though, let her turn to them. Don't come running to us. talking about, but I snatched down the flag down there in South Carolina. I don't care.
Right.
Turn to your progressives who you sat there and you caped for to the diminishment of us. Turn to that international worldwide revolution against all injustices to save your black ass. Don't come to me. I got nothing for you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that is how we
You
have to be. Look,
yeah,
as
yeah,
usual, ADOS is
yeah, yeah, yeah,
behind
yeah,
is behind a little bit because we
yeah, yeah.
came from disparate peoples, right? When our ancestors were brought here, they were brought from groups that were already established since time immemorial. They were brought from Igbo. They were brought
Mhm.
from Fulani. They were brought from Hausa. They were
Right,
brought from you know all these Fawn, Gao Man, and so on and so forth. So they came from people, and then as a part of the enslavement process, had their original identities and people connections broken from them. But we have been spending the last in number of years rebuilding what was shattered. But now, with this new frame, we have the language to describe exactly what and who we are. We are no longer this lost people, this lost,
right.
homeless, peopleless, tribeless group. We have a home. It is America. We have an
Right,
identity. We are the black
right,
descendants of U.S. slavery. We have a lineage.
right,
We have a heritage.
right,
So now that we
right.
have this, we can now
Mhm.
start to operate in the same way as everybody else. It will take time. It will take time and it will take all of our best efforts. This isn't something that's just going to magically appear simply because we say ADOS. No, that's not how this works, right? It's going to
Yeah,
require us to be on our best and strongest A game. It's going to require us to do advocacy in a way we've never done it before. And more importantly, it is going to require all of our energies, which is why we have to refrain moving forward from muling for everybody else. I'm sorry, but I don't have nothing for the Indians in Standing Rock. I don't have nothing for
right,
the immigrants at the border. It's not that I can't care, I'm still human, but I don't have enough energy to advocate for their shit and my shit too.
right,
We can't mule for
right.
anybody. Our interests, our goals, our needs come first. If we don't get ours, then nobody should get theirs. And I truly mean that. I don't care if that makes me sound heartless, Elder. I don't care if that
No,
makes me
no,
sound like a
no, no,
monster.
no, no,
If we
no,
don't
no,
get
no, no.
ours, fuck everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel the same way, and I, it's nothing. I don't know if you read anything by this writer, this Igbo writer from Nigeria. His name is I pronounce his name Chinua Achebe, but he
Yeah,
he
Chinua
talks
Achebe,
about
the guy who wrote Things Fall Apart. Yeah, I read it.
it's nothing worse for a person to realize that they have been excommunicated from their people. Like in Things Fall Apart, I think that's where they ban or they excommunicate this person or something from his. In other words, they excommunicate him out of his
Yep,
group and
Okonkwo.
everything.
Okonkwo was a big man until his tribe said
Yeah,
no more and threw his ass out.
yeah, they threw him out. It's nothing can make you feel it like a piece of shit, if I might say, or worthless, with no purpose in to be banned by your group. We are the wind beneath all these, like Al Sharpton, Candace Owens, all of them out here talking this stuff and so forth, and they enjoy reading and so forth. If we excommunicate them, we don't watch them, we don't listen to anything they got to say. We just, it's the word gets around, you are excommunicated. ADOS has nothing to do with you. We will not watch your content. We will not support you in any way. We will not get in any debate from you. we will excommunicate. They'll realize that we are the wind beneath their wings. If we excommunicate them, they would be as powerless and as useless as can be as a person.
Elder,
We will individually.
I always say that nothing says I'm done with you like being done with you.
Right.
Like ADOS,
Yeah.
fam, we got a lot of work to do, a lot of advocacy to do. And again, I'm known for fire, shade, and smoke. So don't think I'm your judge. But as your brother and one who loves you, at some point we're gonna have to get serious about this shit and just simply start cutting these folk off. They pop our issues, our identifications, and things like that into social media posts and tweets and things like that.
Right.
They pop that in there because we are the only thing that gives them relevancy. Stop giving them relevancy. Look, I would love nothing more than to go in my timeline on Twitter and see nothing but solid advocacy for our justice claim, politically, economically, legally, religiously, whatever, right? I wouldn't care if I never heard another word from Malcolm Nance, from Joy Ann Lomina, right? From Coleman Cruz Hughes, from what's her face? The little gal, the little black gal's the Republican, Candace Owens. I wouldn't care if I never heard a single, because I know where they at. And they are consigned to the outer darkness. I don't care if I never hear another word that Al Sharpton has to say. Right. That's when I see that, fam, that's how I'll know we're serious. When we stop giving these people relevance and airtime and head space, when we dedicate ourselves to the work, that's when we'll know it's really on and cracking.
Oh yeah. I think we're wasting too much energy on them and so forth. We need to just consolidate and just energize more from within.
That's right.
More so.
That's right, Elder. And just John Henrik Clark, our esteemed ancestor and warrior scholar John Henrik Clark said it best. He said, "I only debate my equal. All others I teach." Bam. All this debating back and forth and trying to change the minds of these people, damn all that. The data is on your side. You drop the information and then shut up. There ain't nothing else that's left to be said. By the way, shout out to Maid and Dade. Happy holidays, fam. Yeah, Elder, I know you agree with me on this. We at some point, we have to understand that they are not our equals, because if they were our equals in this, then there would be no debate. If they were as grounded in the data, of our true circumstances here in the United States of America as a tribe, there wouldn't be a debate. There wouldn't be shit. We like Unsunken would say, like the Klingon Council, turn our backs to them and keep it pushing. They discommodate it. They anathematize. They are excommunicated. I have shit for them. Go be with your liberals. Go be with the Trump firsters or whatever. I don't care if they're right wing or left wing. Candace Owens is persona non grata. Period.
Non grata, right?
Jesse Lee Peterson, persona non grata. Right? They got nothing. I don't want to hear shit from them. They're not talking on the same thing that we're talking about. All right.
What's that?
If they're not talking the same thing we're talking about, bye. You know what I'm saying? Get on.
Yeah.
Right? Let the Republicans that you care for so much come to your aid. Don't come to us. Don't be on some black shit waiting on us to come and save you out now that you done dug yourself into a pit. You dug yourself into it. Now pull yourself the hell up out of it.
Right. They don't realize where their strength really lies, or where the wind beneath their wings are. So it's time. Like you I'm from St. Louis, and you from Missouri too. So we from the state. We from the state, and we from the show me state, and So it's about time. It's not about. It's time that we show them. Show them that we mean business.
That's what I say, Elder. You know what? As a matter of fact, fam, I'm gonna tell you.
Mhm.
Look at Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby
Right.
recently did an interview from jail, right? And shout out to the brother. I hope that he's doing well, right? I got no personal,
Okay.
but Bill Cosby said some things, trying to push that respectability shtick that he was on, that came back to bite
Mm-hmm.
him in the ass. Now Bill
Right.
Cosby then had his wake up call, and now
Right.
all of a sudden he's revisiting the pound cake speech, saying, "Hey, I was
Okay.
talking to the wrong people when I was saying this," and so on and so forth. See, that's what happens, fam, when you let these folk be out there and flapping the wind. That's when you let them go
Right.
ahead and show their natural black ass to America. Because when America turns
Right.
around and starts slapping them on it, they quickly tighten
Mm-hmm.
up.
Right. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
quickly
Yeah.
tighten up.
They're gonna have to be like the prodigal son. They're gonna have to get in. They're gonna have to get down to the depths where they just about to eat, ready to eat with the hogs, and then maybe if they don't come to their senses and to their awareness and to a realization, then they lost anyway. So
Yeah.
so we have the power. We have the power, just as you said, by just excommunicating them, just not giving them any relevancy and so forth, and not listen to what they have to say, and they realize what they role,
Yep.
that they've been played by. They've been played by a system that they thought they understood, but they was totally unaware and was in
I
the
couldn't say
blind.
it better, brother Elder. I mean, our brother Professor Black Truth says power is exclusive. And that's a fact, fam.
Right,
The more we learn to exercise power as a collective, you feel me? The more we
right,
learn how to do that, the more exclusive we're gonna have to be. At some point,
right,
some people gonna have to just fall back. They can either get on board, right? Power is exclusive. In other words, as the black descendants of United States slavery, ADOS, FBA, it's all right for
mhm,
us to invite our people in, right? Bring the
right,
horse to the water. But if they choose not to
right,
drink it, let their ass stand on the bank and dehydrate. We don't have
right,
time to be trying to pick up the stragglers. This is not to say don't
right.
put in the work. Bring them to this message.
Yeah,
Bring them to this advocacy. Run it down. Explain it ad nauseum if you have to, right? Do the work.
right,
But have in your head that at some point, this might be somebody you got to cut loose, not just for your mental
right.
health, but for the health of our people. We need a
Yep.
pruning, right? We need the scythe to come through and reap the harvest.
You, as our ancestor Malcolm said, and then I'm gonna let you go after this. I'm gonna let you go after this. As Malcolm was talking about it, our ancestor, brother Malcolm was talking about in uh, in one of his speeches once. He said during the Chinese Revolution, he to show you to what extent he was talking about. He said during the Chinese Revolution, he said this young girl had a pistol, had a gun, and her grandfather was on her knees, and she was pulling the trigger. And what the point he made, he says no more traitors in China, But that was an example that he was talking
Now,
about,
I feel you. I
So
mean, I hope it doesn't come to that. You know what
no,
I'm
no,
saying?
I,
But
I'm, I don't mean advocating to come to
no.
that,
I hear
but
you, elder
we
brother.
got
No, I hear you. I'm
we got to
saying
real
that we have to
we
have
got to
that
realize
mentality that these
that
folk gotta
mentality
go.
is that mentality is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We're going to have to go to that extreme. If we're not willing to go to that extreme, where we're able to cut the exclude certain people, certain uh, enemies and so forth, then we're not going to be able to reach our goal. But we'll get there, brother.
Yes,
And I
sir.
appreciate, I'm thankful for you, and I'm thankful for
I'm thankful for
Adolf.
you
So
too. I'm
you
thankful for you too, elder
you
brother.
you have a
Thank you
great
so much, man.
night. But yeah, but I was just talking about to what extreme we may have to go. But you know. You know, it's reality.
Yep, it
Okay, my
is. It's
brother.
reality. We deal with reality before it deal with you. Thank you, elder brother. I hope you have a great holiday, and thanks for calling in. Fam, I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up, but before I go, I just wanted to let y'all know one important thing. We do have something to be thankful for. Let's be thankful for the awakening, right? Let's be thankful for the awakening of us identifying as a people. It has been too long in coming, but it's right on time. It is absolutely right on time. If I'm thankful for nothing else, I'm thankful for now having this frame to see everything clearly through, right? I am not a lost wandering child. I have a home, I have a people, I have a tribe, and I have interests that align with that people. My tribesmen, tribes brothers, tribe sisters, I want to say that I love you, that you are worthy. In this new year to come, in this political season where we have been shown the height of disrespect, where we have been shown denigration, where we have been told that our interests literally do not matter, we will make it be known. We will make it clear that we're done with the status quo. That if it's not about transformation, you're not speaking our language. So, fam, I want to thank all of the people who called in. I'm sorry, I'm not taking no more calls at this point, right? But I want to thank everybody who called in. I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. If you celebrate, if you don't, happy Turkey Day. And if you don't celebrate that, I hope you eat like a pig tomorrow. Kiss your babies, hug your spouses, girlfriends, friends, partners, doonies, peoples. Get with your people tomorrow, right? Take and enjoy that day or the 2 days that you have off, right? Cleave to each other, hold each other close, right? Enjoy each other's company. Be thankful for them. They're the living evidence of the greatness of the people in which you exist. And until I talk with you this coming Saturday for Sucker Free Saturday, as always, fam, I want to wish you all love, peace, prosperity, and power. Real power to our people.